Welcome, everyone, to our SIUE Basketball Coaches Show, our final episode here of this season, and we're so glad to have such a nice crowd gathering here at Global Brew. So glad to be back at Global Brew. It's been a great season, and we appreciate the support from Global Brew, having us here on the Monday nights and giving us the opportunity to visit with our coaches and visit with our student athletes. Please welcome to the other microphone our head women's basketball coach, Samantha Quigley-Smith.
Thank you.
We talk a lot about, things that come up during the season and things you can't always plan for. And we talked last week that there may be an opportunity to leave early on a trip to get ahead of weather. That's what ended up happening. So you leave on a Tuesday where you would normally leave on a Wednesday. What was that like? It's literally rearranging plans and hoping you can get a bus and a place to stay and all that good stuff. What was that like?
It was interesting. I think there was more snow in Moorhead, Kentucky than we got here. It was another one of those weeks where it said it was going to be 3 to 5, and what did we end up getting? An inch, maybe, an inch and a half. So shifting plans and, obviously they have class, and as student athletes, I think that's what's probably the biggest concern of ours. Are we going to be missing too much class? And I think there was only a couple that had to miss class with the time period that we left in, so it worked out well. It's definitely different, but it gives you an opportunity to spend some more time together. We did spend a lot of time together. So it was great, just that team bonding aspect, having an extra night, an extra day, obviously in a hotel and spending those moments together.
You mentioned academics, and it's always nice when we get a chance to kind of shout out some of those folks that people don't see behind the scenes. Ashley Beaton-Simpson is one of those people that works very closely with your team and the men's team, was on this particular trip. Obviously, it was going to be a long trip regardless, but to add that extra day, what's that mean to you and to your team to have somebody like that in their corner, essentially?
Yeah, it's just an amazing resource. When you're on a long trip like that, literally gone from Tuesday to Saturday, to be able to have an academic counselor there for your team. We did multiple different study zone hour times while we were on the road in the hotel, in the conference rooms. They put their cell phones in a bag, so they're really focused and dialed in and locked in with their laptops. And so Ashley's available to them pretty much 24/7. I know a lot of them used her just from reviewing papers, going over quizzes, things like that. So just really great to have someone like her. And I think she got a little radio time.
She did.
at the Moorhead game. So she was with Randy on the radio as well.
And again, it always bears repeating the things that the responsibility that your women have that are completely outside of the basketball court, and that is to be a student and to continue to work towards a degree, obviously, while they're here. And that's something that, I think people do forget. They see athletes on the floor and they see them perform in games, but they forget there's a lot of other stuff that they are busy with and responsible for outside of that basketball.
Especially at the highest level. At the Division I level, I feel like that's probably a second thought for most people that are watching you on ESPN Plus. They don't understand the rigors of being a student athlete and what that all entails, obviously from a going to class standpoint, but then all of the outside work that you are doing. Many of them have group projects, so it's leaving practice and running to a group meeting with a group of people from your class, on the road doing Zooms, all of those things. Now things are a little more virtual, which is nice. But just all around, they have to understand that, and even those that are watching, like basketball, the ball stops bouncing someday, and they've got to be ready and prepared for life after basketball, which is what we're trying to teach them each and every day. Obviously, with the basketball skills involved, and those lessons are taught on the floor, but then they're taught in the classroom and outside of the floor.
What was the Tuesday night like? What was the team bonding activity on Tuesday night?
So if you've ever seen the Hunger Games, we'd had a little Hunger Games theme. I was the gamekeeper, and we had some minute to win it games, and it was pretty entertaining, I would say. We got in pretty late to Moorhead, so got some good food in us, and then we got to our conference room and had some fun. We had mixed up groups, and they all got scoring for their games and what they had to accomplish. So we read some children's books. We had some Mad Libs. did some really fun activities, so it was good.
Mad Libs. It's
it's old
secretly
school.
teaching English too, right?
Secretly, yep.
You got to know like what an adverb is and what an
You do.
adjective is, all
Yep.
those things.
Some of them were like, can we use our phones to Google? Like, what's a synonym for, yeah. So we let them use their phones. So, yeah, it was good. It was very, I think for them, just like, hey, let's put our focus on fun and enjoying each other and knowing how important that week was. And it was. I think we got the win we were supposed to get, and now we're in another big week just from a focus standpoint.
So let's talk about that. Morehead State on the road. We've said this over and over too, right? It's hard to win on the road. I don't care what conference you're in. I don't care what level you're talking about. It is hard to go into an opponent's building and win on the road. You get a tough win at Morehead State.
Yeah, I would say especially at Morehead, it's kind of a unique arena, a unique area, a little bit louder, aesthetics, whatever you call it, and so the team just adjusting to that, knowing what it needed to take to get a win on the road. Probably one of our most complete 40-minute games, I would say, from start to finish. From the jump, I feel like we took an early lead. We were really confident. They went on a big run in the third, and then we kind of fought back and went on our own run. So and finished the game. I think that's been a lot of our games this year have been close, but we haven't quite finished them. And so this was one that we really focused and finished in those last 2 minutes. And obviously we shot really well from three. That always helps.
There is something to that, though, right? There is something to learning how to game manage, right? How to manage that game and to finish out a game and get a win. And obviously take a punch because, like you said, a run in the third, but it isn't enough to fold you, and you come back and you hold off and get a nice win.
Yeah, and there were some really key stops and rebounds at the end. People say this all the time. It's not the first shot that hurts you. It's the second shot, especially within 2 minutes of the game. And so we got some really big key rebounds down the stretch. A couple of our women who maybe didn't block out great early in the game, they had some really big blockouts at the end of the game that were really, really needed for us.
Is that an adjustment you make between quarters at halftime? Like those kind of in-game adjustments, how quick are those being made?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about it, I think, constantly in timeouts. We talk a lot about defensive kills, so that's multiple stops in a row. And then where's the boards at? I know that's one thing a couple of our freshmen have been really keying in on, hey, looking at stats and saying, we're down on the glass 2, we're up on the glass 3, let's go up 3 more, let's go up 4 more. And I think just for our team to hear that during timeouts, you can tell that the full 17 from a roster standpoint are like really dialed in and locked in on what are the things that we need to do quarter by quarter. And we've been talking about just like inches of the game, small portions of the game that we got to win, and at the end of the game, it was like, hey, we have to win this next 3 minutes. The beginning of the fourth, we got to win up to that first media, and if we do those little things, I think that's going to give you a complete 40 minutes.
That's hard for me to imagine that you're in the moment playing a game, but you're also still aware of the fact that like, hey, we're down 2 on the boards or we're up 3 on the boards. Like that's a different level in my mind.
Yeah, well, I think it just gives their focus. It's not so much about like, are we scoring points? Are we stopping them from scoring? It's like just a little small detail. When a shot goes up, am I turning and am I finding a body? Am I getting a block out made so that my team can now get this stop that we absolutely need? It doesn't become a stop until you get the rebound, you secure the basketball. And so it's just small little details, I think, that really help them. We talk a lot about jumping to the ball defensively. Like that's a small little detail that when the ball moves, am I moving? Or am I staying with my player? And so these small little details, I think you do a ton of those, and that adds up to really good stuff for your team.
Obviously a very big win because it does keep you alive in the Ohio Valley Conference standings. And as you mentioned, a really big week coming up, which we'll talk about coming up in our second segment here. But just the fact that you had to have a win, and again, that's something too, right? When you have to have a win, there's pressure from all areas, but they responded.
Yeah, and I know our team they were just really geared up for that game, and I would say they're going to be very geared up. They're sitting all in front of us right now, all 17 of them, and they know how important this week is. They know how important Thursday is to come out right at the jump, ready to play. Obviously, this is a game, you have a little payback involving with SEMO, so, I know this group's ready.
Fantastic. We'll talk more about this upcoming week in your second segment. We've got Hallie Smith coming up to join us here on our second segment, and we'll do that in just a minute. And we are joined now by the senior Hallie Smith. Welcome her to our microphone here at Global Brew. And we've done this before. Hallie joined us last year here on our coaches show. And that's kind of where I want to start is You know, when we talked last year, we talked a lot about what brought you to SIUE, what you felt like, you know, was a good fit here, and ultimately a better fit than where you were before. So how have things progressed from junior to senior year now?
I think it's been really good. The fit, obviously, we talked about last year, was a lot about the family atmosphere, you know, that Coach Sam is really big about. She's a really big family person, obviously, and that was a big reason for me coming here. And I think, you know, that kind of shows with our team, we're all really close, and, you know, I feel like it's a family, and so I feel like that's a big part of, you know, why I came here, and it's kind of progressed just more and more.
We were talking to Coach about, obviously, the Tuesday night and that extra night. It basically a family game night, if you will, right? What's that like? And actually, let's back up. And what's it like when you literally are like, oh, by the way, we're not leaving Wednesday, now we're leaving Tuesday? Like, what do you do as a student athlete? What's that scramble like for you?
Yeah, I would say, like, the first thing I do is just, like, get my classes in check, tell professors and stuff like that, pack. But honestly, it's really exciting. I like road games. I like staying in the hotel with everybody, with the girls, and it's a good time. And I feel like now that I'm closer down to the stretch and it's about to be over for me, I think I just cherish it more because, you know, it's a good time, and just being around, you know, my teammates is really fun. So it was a good time. I really enjoyed it, and we, like Coach Sam said, we had a lot of games, and it was a lot of laughter, and it was just really fun.
It sounds like there's a lesson there for younger players as you have gotten in deeper into your career and you start realizing that there's only a few left, right? There's only a few games. There's only a few bus rides. There's only a few nights left in the hotel, right?
Yeah. It was very surreal, and I just try to take it all and enjoy every moment of it. It's been a great experience here, and I love my team, and it was just a really good time just to have that time with them on the road. And like I said, I was just trying to cherish it and enjoy it and just take it all in.
When you come in as a junior, but you're a transfer, you're an older player, an upperclassman, but obviously new to the group, was there some talk or thoughts about how am I going to be a leader being an upperclassman? And if so, or if there wasn't, how has that kind of changed now if you've in your second year in the program, but also a senior in your college career?
Yeah, I think we talked about this last year too. It was like coming here, you know, I transferred in conference, so it was kind of like I played against a lot of these girls, and, you know, that was kind of like, how's that going to go? Like, is there going to be any, like, tension? And I think last year was, like, good for me to, like, figure out the program, figure out, you know, Coach Sam's coaching style, and just, like, the overall vibe, I guess you can say. But then this year, you know, having a year under my belt here, and I also got picked with the other seniors to be a captain, and I think just having that confidence from Coach Sam, it's really helped me be a leader this year, and I feel like I'm a leader that kind of tries to lead by example and just be super positive. So I think I've really grown in that aspect this year, and I feel like it's just something that I've kind of worked on and been really focused on, and I really have enjoyed it this year being a leader for this team.
What are the qualities of this team? What do you like about the makeup of your team in 24-25?
I just think it's a really fun group to be around. We have a lot of different personalities, and, you know, everyone just, I feel like I can have a good conversation with everybody, and I really enjoy this team. I think we have a lot of good girls, and I'm going to miss them a lot. So I think just also being my last year, just cherishing it and getting to know everyone and trying to, you know, teach them from my experience and just be very positive and encouraging, you know, just to spread that and leave something good with the team. You know, I feel like I've just tried to really focus on having good relationships with everybody, just to, you know, I don't know, as you're a senior, just you want to spend as much time with them as you can, and I feel like that's something I've been really honed in on this year.
When you have a team that genuinely enjoys being around one another, it makes a big difference because obviously, just like we're talking, you spend a lot of time, whether it's 6.5 hours on a bus or it's nights in the hotel and sometimes extra nights in the hotel.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference when you genuinely enjoy the team that's around you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes a big difference. It makes it a lot more enjoyable, win or lose. It just, you know, it's like a sisterhood. I have 2 brothers, so I didn't grow up with sisters, and, you know, being in college and just playing basketball in general, it's given me an opportunity to have a sisterhood, and it's like, it's amazing. I wouldn't change it for anything, and I'm very appreciative of it.
I think I already know the answer, obviously, to this, but as we get to senior day coming up on Saturday, what's the emotions like? How is that feeling to Holly Smith?
It's very emotional. I've thought a lot about it the past few weeks. I feel like I'm just trying to take it all in and practice, like I said, the trip and just everything. It's really emotional. But I'm just really thankful, and I'm very blessed that I got to come here and that Coach Sam, gave me an opportunity here, and I'm going to miss these girls a lot.
What about the fact that in your second to last regular season game, you've got SEMO coming in, a place obviously you know really well, and probably one that you'd like to get that W against, I bet.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a lot different now that it's my second year playing them. I feel like the emotions aren't as hefty as they were the first time around, but it's still very important to me, and both games are just very important to me this week, and just getting these wins is super crucial, and I feel like we've been doing a really good job of just telling everyone it's still very realistic, and to leave everything we have out there, and obviously no regrets.
I've said it, we've talked about it, but I think they'd like to hear it from you. How tough is it to go on the road and get a win in college basketball?
It's really tough. You have the crowd, you have the band, you have everything, just also not waking up in your own bed, all those things. It's a lot, and I don't know, officiating is in OVC, it's kind of always, whatever, but on the road it gets
We don't want to
even
get you in
harder.
any trouble. So.
Yeah. But, so it's a lot of different factors, but it was a really good win against Moorhead, and, getting a road win is great.
So now I'll flip that around. How important is it when this community comes out like they have all year long at First Community Arena?
It's really important, and obviously senior night, everything, we want to go out with a bang, and we obviously want to see everyone there, so it's really important, especially this week with the two games we have, a really important game, so it would be great to see everybody out.
It seemed, I know some athletes will say, I tune everything out, I don't hear it, but you guys feel it when that arena's rocking, don't you?
Oh yeah, we definitely feel it. It's great, especially when you hit some big shots, you get some big stops, we have our student section, the Red Storm, they do a great job. I feel like we all feel it. It just gets everyone really hyped, so it's really good.
What is next for you? What's your degree in, and what do the prospects look like?
So I'm an applied communications major, and
you could have this job, I thought.
yeah. So my plan is, my mom's a real estate broker, so I want to get my real estate license just to do that and work under her. And then I also, as of right now, I'm planning on doing social media marketing, digital marketing, something in that field. So I'm really excited about that. But I'm excited to, obviously I've been away for 4 years. I've been missing my family, so trying to go home and spend some time with my family and then kind of figure it out from there.
So you plan to move back?
Yeah, at least for a little while, just to take in that time, being that I've been away for so long. But as of right now, I'm moving back home. But
and remind folks, Bell, Missouri is where?
Bell, Missouri. It's central Missouri, 20 miles north of Rolla, Missouri. So
not too far. You're still close, and I'm sure.
Yeah, it's 2 hours. So
I'm sure you'll be following along the Cougars as your career progresses.
Yes, of course.
Well, Hallie, thanks so much for taking some time. Like you said, we did this last year. We did joke that she could be sitting here in my seat, which is probably true. So, but thank you for taking some time and just kind of sharing your experience and how it's been. And obviously, we wish you the best of luck in these last 2 games.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hallie Smith, everybody.
Thank you.
One more segment coming up with Coach Sam. Now we're ready for our third segment. Welcome back to the mic, the Cougars head coach, Samantha Quigley-Smith. I want to start with a question that I had just asked Hallie about the crowd at First Community Arena, because we talk about it being hard to win on the road, and I think now it's hard to come into Edwardsville and get a win.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the volume, but also the people that are coming, and more so at the end of our games, that third and fourth quarter when you're starting to get the trail of the men's crowd in as well. I think it's a different level of intensity. I think our team really feels it, which is awesome. So we hope we have a great crowd this upcoming week.
Without a doubt, with 2 big games coming up, and that's obviously where we start here, and we talked about just a little bit in our first segment, but it doesn't get any bigger. And for everything, obviously, that your team has been through, you're in position right now, still alive, and you're in a position to play for your postseason life, and that's where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And you try to go through all the different scenarios, especially as a coach, and I'm sure our players are too, but the most simplest thing you can say to yourselves is you take care of business. You do what you're supposed to do at home. You protect your home court. 2 days, Thursday and Saturday, and you're going to put yourself in great position to be in the OVC tournament next week. And that's one of their big goals. We have it written in our locker room. They want to practice in March.
Yeah.
And so that would be a Monday practice. That would be what practicing in March looks like and means. So it's going to be a fun week. Obviously, a senior night and senior day on Saturday for women that have been a really big part of our program, and one that's been here for 4 years, and Sophie Lois, which is very unique in this day and age. Hopefully not too emotional for any of us.
Which, see, she's looking at my notes over here, but there is some emotions that you have to manage, obviously, in a week like this, because it is senior day, because you're coming down to the end of the regular season. So talk about that first off, just kind of what that looks like, managing the emotions of your team, probably of your coaches, of yourself, all of that.
Yeah, just taking it day by day, possession by possession, not looking too far ahead, but not reflecting too much on what just happened potentially in the middle of a game. And I think that's what's really important with this group, understanding, hey, we win little pieces of the game, little moments of each game, and that's going to put us in a really great spot when the buzzer goes off. And so I think more than anything, their energy and life at the start of all this, the ball tips up, having a great start. Our best games have been the games where we've had the best starts on the defensive end, but also offensively clicking, pushing the ball, finding some of our open teammates early in the game. I think that's going to be a big part of our success.
So the other part of that is there's a thin line, right? Because you do have to win. It is, do or die, if you will. But you can't have your team come out there in a panic, right? So
Right.
How do you balance that for yourself and your staff when you're talking about preparing for these final 2 games?
Yeah, it's a focus. It's an understanding of the scouting report. I think that's in these next 2 games, especially because you played these opponents before, being really, really familiar with what they're going to be doing, what they're doing as of late. So our team feeling very prepared. I think preparation before a game, especially at this time of the year, really puts you in a great spot from a confidence standpoint. They can feel like, okay, I know exactly what this player does. I know exactly what this play call is. I know exactly what they're going to be doing defensively. I think that really preps them, gets them ready. And then just maybe, having some goofy moments. We have these Hunger Games. We have these things that we do throughout the week that I think it's very much needed for this time period, so that there's no stress. There's no, again, panic. There's no understanding of, gosh, it's such a small room up for error in these next 2 games. But we got to have fun. We have fun. We play really great basketball, and that's going to give us good results.
It was all the way back in December when you saw Southeast Missouri and Little Rock. I mean, it's been a 20-game schedule now that's long, but it started before break even. How do you get back into that and say, man, do you remember this from 3 months ago or whatever it was?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it was that far.
Sometimes, I know, I go back and forth. I feel like sometimes it feels like it was a long time, and other times it feels like we just started.
Yeah, and I think our team is just really familiar with both of these opponents. They're familiar with the players. They're familiar, and they've been watching the OVC. They've been seeing teams, the standings, all those things every week. They're really tuned into it. So I would say they're very familiar with both of these opponents. And obviously, we go back and watch some of the film from the previous game, but that was a while ago. So they're doing some different things in the last couple weeks. But yeah, they're excited. We're all excited. So.
Are you doing different things? And I don't mean, obviously, yes, your team has grown. It has changed since December. But are there specifically things that you will do different because you've seen them once before? Or because it's been that long?
Yeah, and they're doing things differently in the last 2 weeks.
Right.
I would say both opponents were going to be playing, but I would more so say we're way more focused on ourselves. Mm-hmm. We're focused on things that we have to do, the accountability, the understanding how important it is to be talking, to be communicating every single moment. Because like Hallie said and mentioned, it's the senioritis thing where it's almost over, and you're not going to have another chance. So you can't waste possessions, you can't waste days, you can't waste moments. And so I think that really focus and that detail, I would say we had a pretty good practice this morning on Monday here to start the week off, where we just really got to be laser focused. We can't take moments of practice off. We can't take a drill off. We all collectively, 17, have to be really dialed in this week.
Not specifically, but is there somewhere generally you feel like you can exploit either SEMO or Little Rock? Do you have some things, that, like I said, obviously it doesn't have to be specific, but some things that you feel like maybe that you can win those little battles?
Yeah, I think with SEMO, there's probably a little bit of a size advantage, and they're young. They're a young team, some freshmen that play substantial minutes. So I think just using our experience and our veteranness to come out on the defensive end and to really show like, hey, you're not scoring on us. This is not going to be easy for you, making everything really, really difficult. I think our experience, not only from our 4 seniors, but some of our juniors that are playing substantial minutes, our sophomores that are playing a good amount of minutes, just showing that experience, with a newer program, with younger players, obviously a new coaching staff, and just what we are capable of doing at this time of year.
And we should mention, certainly with Southeast Missouri State, tied as far as conference record goes, so they're in the exact same position, and in some ways, obviously, fighting for their postseason life, but they've got to do it on the road.
Yeah.
Exactly what we've been talking about this whole time.
Yeah,
they have to come and do it on the road.
There's 3 or 4 of us right now that are kind of vying for that spot,
Right.
that last spot. And so, I think we can't get too much into the details of all the different scenarios. We just got to take care of our stuff. We got to take care of business. Our team knows that. Our team understands that. And so Thursday's the first battle that we've been talking about, right? The first battle that we've got to win.
And then Little Rock, same thing. Is there somewhere you think that maybe you've got that edge or an edge on Little Rock?
I think pushing the ball, scoring. They're definitely known for their defense. They're known for a half-court basketball game. Not necessarily going up and down. And so I think if we can use that to our advantage, us pushing the ball, us being aggressive in our primary break, that's gonna pay dividends.
Would you like to mention your 4 seniors and
I
give them a
would.
little shout out as we?
I would. They're a really special group. They've led this group, I think, through a ton of adversity, obviously being here last year and what we went through from an injury standpoint, and then it kind of bleeding over a little bit to this season and handling it with a grace, with a great attitude, a great encouragement and mindset. And I really see this group leading us this week to something really, really special. And so I would love to be here next Monday at practice with them and doing the same thing we did this morning. So love you guys. Appreciate you. And a shout out to the Smith kids, because Jackson said he needed a shout out. So, and he's not even listening. Okay, yeah, they're in the back room somewhere. Yeah, but seniors, you're the best.
Well, Coach, we appreciate it every Monday night getting the chance to talk about this and talk about this season and highlight some of your great players over there. And thank you guys all for coming out as well to support Coach and to support Hallie tonight. Thanks, everyone, for coming out. And, Coach, as always, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hope to see you this week.
Cougars head coach Samantha Quigley-Smith, and we've got our men's show still to come.